All right, guys. First episode. This isn't going to be anything official, at least not for now. But we're going to dive into Arbitrum updates. This is going to be essentially a daily show that we do. We're literally just kind of diving into crypto Twitter, seeing what people are talking about, seeing what's going on in the Arbitrum ecosystem, and just kind of giving you guys my thoughts on it. And just going over it, since it's Arbitrum ecosystem is actually very, very big. A lot of things going on a daily basis, and it's hard to keep up, of course, with all of it, with all the information kind of flowing through. So that being said, before we even get into it, you'll see all Twitter on my left, or I guess you're right. None of this is financial advice, of course. I do community strategy at Offchain Labs, the company that initially built Arbitrum. But all this stuff is kind of just my opinions and my opinions alone. Had to put the disclaimer out there, of course. But anyways, let's jump right into it. All right, first thing first, OpenBlock. OpenBlock says that we are excited to showcase our latest work with the Arbitrum STIP. In the past 2 weeks, OpenBlock has achieved significant milestones in monitoring the ongoing expenditure of 50 million ARB across 30 protocols. Dive into the details below. Now, for those of you who don't know, before we even get into this in particular, the Arbitrum STIP, which is what they're referring to here, is essentially a DAO proposal that was approved back in October that pretty much distributed 50 million worth of ARB, or 50 million ARB, I should say, to different protocols within the Arbitrum ecosystem, as voted on by the people who hold ARB, delegates, essentially. What these guys did today is essentially, or I should say yesterday, put out kind of a graph analyzing the effects of the Arbitrum STIP. Here they talk about user claim activity. We talk about the different annualized fee growth relative to the ARB grants, and how the protocols actually kind of benefited from them. And of course, they dive into DEXes, lending, perpetuals, options, and just overall STIP growth as it pertains to the program itself. Tracking tools like these are actually really important. Or even, I should say, metrics like these are very important because there are going to be a lot more different programs coming out of the Arbitrum DAO. There's already different kind of applications coming through. I'll talk about one soon, actually. But one that I won't talk about since nothing happened recently with it yet is the one. There's a gaming related one coming out. We're going to talk about a real world asset one in a second. But definitely tracking these things to make sure that they're efficient and are beneficial to the Arbitrum ecosystem as a whole is important because there's a lot of funding that gets going to this stuff. 50 million ARB is no small amount. So shout outs to OpenBlocks for kind of doing all that tracking. And of course, shout outs to the people in the community that are actually launching things like the Arbitrum STIP. Just as a small reminder, the foundation didn't launch that. Offchain Labs didn't launch that. Like, no core contributors to Arbitrum launched it. Literally just people within the community decided to, hey, like we need incentives right now. We're going to launch this thing. And people voted to, of course, have it pass. That being said, yeah, check that out if you're interested in looking at the analytics and growth of the Arbitrum STIP. Next, we have this post by Devansh Mehta. In September, Disruption Joe approached me with an irresistible offer to diversify Arbitrum's treasury, which is currently nearly around 3.5 billion ARB. With the launch of our framework to select tokenized real-world assets offerings, the risk-free rate of return, we have taken the first step towards this goal. Essentially, what this guy Devansh is talking about is a proposal to help. I guess I'll just read the proposal name itself. The Arbitrum Stable Treasury Endowment Program, which would essentially allow for projects or real-world asset projects to take part in kind of helping diversify the Arbitrum DAO's treasury. I don't have all the context in the world in this for what it's worth, but it would essentially take funding from the Arbitrum DAO, invest into real-world assets on chain, and it would pretty much live, and the benefit, obviously the DAO itself, the treasury would benefit from the return rate of the actual real-world assets. Pretty interesting proposal, very detailed as well. So shout outs to these guys on that. Definitely worth looking into if you're interested in real-world assets or even just interested in participating in the DAO. The dope part is you don't even need any ARB. You can just log in and start commenting. So you could also you could benefit in a good way or a bad way, I guess, since you don't really need any ARB to do it. But definitely a really cool proposal. I love seeing stuff like this because I would have never even thought about this myself. I'm sure none of the core teams would have ever thought about doing anything like this either. I'm not saying it's necessarily a good idea, but I think an idea in general is always good. So, just proposing it to the community and seeing what people think. But it is currently in that phase of comments since it was launched yesterday. So definitely leave any there if you're interested in, taking part. And next, we have Rari Chain. All right, so Rari Chain, Rarible, I should say, announced that they're launching Rari Chain, pretty much an Orbit chain, Arbitrum stack-based chain on Arbitrum 1, and it'll essentially be kind of like an NFT kind of creator-focused chain. I'm kind of highlighting this here just because they had a Spaces with the Arbitrum Foundation yesterday, and I figured, if you guys are interested in kind of keeping up with the whole like L2, L3 narrative, that's probably going to be pretty big in this coming year, 2024, then I'll probably kind of make sure to toss in different notes about different teams who are choosing the Arbitrum stack to build their chains on. Since it is very modular, very flexible, and kind of lends itself to creators and developers who want to kind of go beyond what the core Ethereum stack can offer. So definitely worth checking this out if you are interested in learning more about the Arbitrum stack, and maybe why Rarible decided to pick that instead of the other ones out there, other options. But figured I'd mention that just in case. And then we have, I think we might have a last one here. Let me just, I got booped there. Here we go. All right. The Beacon. This is one's a little more ecosystem focused, but I thought it was definitely worth mentioning just because the Beacon themselves, this is a team that launched early on in Arbitrum and probably saw the most insane success I think I've ever seen for a game. That being said, their announcement today is the Twilight Festival, essentially from the 18th to the 25th. It'll go until then, and they're essentially new dungeon unlocks daily for the first 4 days. They can earn event raffle tickets by completing dungeons, and you can also win Moonfae pets, founding characters, and golden tickets throughout. You can join the Discord for more information. But yeah, so the Beacon itself, for transparency's sake, I do have a founding character. I have played the Beacon before. It's a fun game. This is one of the very few really actually fun games that has crypto integrated into it. It's a dungeon crawler, and if you like games and you have nothing else to do for the next couple of days, try it out. Why not? It's a pretty fun game. Shout out to the Beacon folks. And lastly, I wanted to end off on this note. We have Rachel from Offchain Labs, leading stylist development at Offchain Labs. Just announced a kind of fee cut for the stylus update or upgrade, I should say, by 2.5x. A couple of highlights she lists here. Cryptography is 2 to 4 times cheaper. VM acceleration is 3 times cheaper with Ketchak. And then 428, I'm going to say ads. 428 ads for every 1 EVM ad. And we're not done yet. For all of those people who aren't that tech-focused, Stylus is essentially an update or upgrade to Arbitrum-based chains that allow developers to code in Rust, C, C++, all on the same chain. So you can pretty much have people coding all these different languages, including Solidity, and actually have them interoperate between each other on the same chain. And of course, in this case, Stylus itself, if you are coding in those different languages, you do get a lot more efficiency when it comes to computationally heavy applications. That was a lot of kind of word jargon there, but the point is that really exciting stuff for Arbitrum-based chains, especially for those L3s or Orbit chains that we were talking about. So yeah, definitely keep up to date with stuff relating to Stylus. I'll be mentioning a lot of stuff as it relates to Stylus, Orbit chains, and kind of Arbitrum tech-related stuff too, as the ecosystem continues to talk about them and adopt them, definitely as time goes on. That's it pretty much. I'm gonna end this first episode off with shilling the podcast that we just recently started at Offchain Labs. Your boy is the host of this. I'm interviewing different people. Recently interviewed Jill Gunter. We also have another episode coming out this week with someone from the gaming ecosystem. Very exciting stuff. That being said, let me know what you guys think. Leave me feedback in the comments below about what you think about this format. If you're interested in listening to stuff like this, and if you're not, why not? But definitely plan on doing more episodes like this, hopefully in the future, preferably every day, if I'm not lazy enough to do it. That being said, thank you guys for watching, and yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.